How do you define success? That's the big question for today. How do you define success? So, I think our definition of success changes over time. Part of my background has been in education, and specifically a large chunk of that time was in early childhood education. So working with children and families, not only from, before birth, but basically through the age of 12, okay? And one thing I know is that, development over time really kind of determines our definition of success. So I'll give you a couple quick examples. So the first one is, if you've watched a little tiny baby, right, an infant, for any length of time, you know that at some time they get to the point where they're trying to reach for stuff, right? So their definition of success is, can I get that toy, right? And then later on, as they're progressing, somewhere around the age of 3 to 8, depending on the child and your circumstances, they're doing things like riding a bike, right? And they understand that my new success definition is, can I ride that bike, right? Now, some people, as they're going through this process, they want to not just ride the bike, but maybe keep up with an older sibling, right? Also, they want to stay safe, right? So if you have a safety conscious child, maybe a little bit of a shy child, they just want to stay safe, and that's their definition of success, right? And then, maybe later on in middle school or high school or something like that, my new definition of success might be, hey, did I make the basketball team, right? So over time, our definition of success definitely changes, right? But I find with my coaching clients that somewhere along the line, we get a little confused about our definition of success. And we typically do, this trying to keep up with the Joneses, So the Joneses might be your neighbors, your family members. It might be that friend of yours from high school who you're trying to compete with on Facebook, right? It might be your employees, your employer, your teammates, the people around you that you see something in them and you're like, oh, I want to do that, right? Why? Why do we let outside people determine our definition of success? And I'm not saying that I have all of the answers to that question, but I found a couple patterns, not only for myself, because, anytime I tell you guys a story, it's always under the assumption that Michelle's already gone through it, okay? So not only just for myself, but for my clients as well, we tend to look outside of ourselves for help, right? We tend to think that somebody outside of me is going to have the answer. Clearly, I'm not getting the result I want in my life, so therefore I don't know what I need to do. Great example is getting healthy, right? If somebody says, hey, I want to lose weight, I want to have more energy, what do I need to do? Go sign up for, some health program or attend, exercise programs, things like that. And they do it because they think somebody outside of me has figured out the answer, and therefore I need to, hear from them. When in reality, what do we need to do? We need to eat healthy food. We need to get our sleep. We need to take our vitamins. We need to, you know what you need to do, right? So we tend to look outside of ourselves. If somebody is having a result, we gravitate towards them, right? I think that there's also two fears that really jump into this idea of us looking outside ourselves for a different definition of success. One is the fear of criticism, right? So understanding, hey, you know what? I do have a path to the results that I want. However, somebody in my life is not going to like it, right? So it could be a family member, maybe somebody that you live with. It could be your current boss, right? I've talked to a lot of coaching clients lately who they are very unhappy in their current role. And it's not necessarily because of the work. It's because their leader has hit a lid. And so here they are trying to grow and become better people in their role, but they can't because their leader is only so high, right? They only have so much skill themselves. So this idea of the fear of criticism, if I jump out and I go and I actually do my thing, what are these people in my life going to say, right? And then another fear, I think, is just fear of failure. If I do go after that goal or my definition of success, what if I fail? Well, I just referenced those early examples that we talked about when a baby is reaching for an item. How many times does that baby have to reach before they actually get to that item? Hundreds, right? How many times does that child have to ride their bike or attempt to ride their bike before they become a natural at it? Hundreds, right? And so looking at this idea of what if I go after this and I fail? Well, first of all, let's just assume that you're going to and that is part of the process. Okay? So what do we do when we understand, okay, I want something different and how do I move forward? Well, I think we have to recalibrate or unlearn some things that we've learned over time. One is just asking yourself, what is your definition of success? And your definition. Okay, so not anybody outside of you, but if you were to sit down and really think through, what is my definition of success? I can tell you right now that I've had coaching clients that their definition of success is, I know it's important for me to do a Facebook Live so I can share a video. Great, go do it. Right? I've had other people who said, my definition of success right now would be to successfully fire this employee who is causing havoc in my team. Great, go for it. Okay? So your definition of success doesn't have to be the worldly definition where you say I'm making all this money, no. What is your definition? So you might be asking, Michelle, well, what is your definition? Well, quite frankly, at the end of the day, if I can say that I showed up, I gave it my all, right, to help myself and other people understand more about their identity, so who they are, their oneness, how we're all connected, and how to be a better servant leader, then that's my definition of success. Okay? Did I show up? Now notice I didn't say did I get a result, okay? Because you can do all the right things and not get the result that you're looking for. Did I show up? Because sometimes, let me face it, sometimes I get on a coaching call or a Zoom or something like this, I show up and the other person doesn't. Do we get a result that day? Maybe not, okay? But the one thing I know is that when I use that as my definition of success, the result is I typically get more results in my life than other people do. Okay? So, you need to recalibrate. If you have been living by the definition of somebody else's definition of success, it's time to step back and figure out, well, what is my definition of success? Okay? This goes beyond, what's my next goal? No. I mean, goals play into it, but it's so much bigger than that. Okay? And then, let me just speak for a minute to those of you who are leaders. Do you know your people's definition of success? That's really important because if you're going to lead them well, you have to understand what their definition of success is. So let me ask you, if you're a parent and you have kids, do you know what they want? Right? Do you know what they want out of life right now? And I'm saying right now, not ultimately, but right now. And how can you support them? What about your significant other? Do you know what their definition of success is? Okay, if you're a part of a team, who's on your team? What do they want, right? And here's one that just about everybody needs to attend to. Do you know what the definition of success is for your boss? Okay? I work with a lot of leaders that, quite frankly, there's a book that John Maxwell wrote recently that I've been giving away like candy, honestly. And it says how to lead well when your boss won't, right? And so it's this idea of, sometimes your boss can't lead well for many different reasons. But do you know what their definition of success is and how can you help them reach that? Because if you do that, you're going to help them grow, which is ultimately going to help you grow, which ultimately helps your team grow. Okay? So, several questions for you to really ponder today and kind of sit in. What is your definition of success? How is that showing up in your life? What definition of success have you been living by? Right? And what about the people around you? The most significant people in your life, what is their definition of success? What is the evidence that you have for that answer? Okay? So, while I have these thoughts and stories and examples to share with you, I really want you to kind of sit in this today. And it might feel uncomfortable. It might feel weird, and you might feel like, Michelle, I don't want to do this. Guess what? You got to, okay? Because the rest of your life and the people that you're serving really need you to think about this, okay? How do you define success? If you would like a thinking partner on that, would you reach out to me? I would love to chat with you and talk about how we might do that, and see if maybe there's a program that I have that we can plug you in that's going to help you go through that thinking process, okay? Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Go out and make it a beautiful day. So with that, I release you into the wild. Go forth and prosper. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you next time. All right. Bye-bye.